graduate diploma in public administration and management from the Uganda Management Institute, and a bachelor's degree in social work and social administration. You can tell that with management, with him, you can't go wrong. That's why he's at the helm of UBRA. He is a former MP, and whilst an MP, he represented Hoima, Buhaguzi County. And in the 9th Parliament, that was 2011 to 2016, he was a member of the Natural Resources Committee, Budget Committee, and an ad hoc committee on the regularization of the oil sector. He has a very long history. I think we stop at that, but you can see he's a man solid in management. He has an economic background somewhere, so he's really steering UBRA in the right direction. And the chair is going to be invited by the CEO UBRA, Mr. Martin Nsubuga. Martin is a chartered accountant and was part of the UBRA management team, which was pivotal in developing and implementing a robust and appropriate supervisory framework. I used to work with a regulator, but the moment they said pension is going to open, everybody is free to participate in pension, and people who are strategically located, they thought the insurance regulator was actually going to regulate them. Everybody filed. There were very many people who filed, and it would have gotten to a point we had something like 24 applications, which were never activated. They say, no, have it, but we'll come back. But in drafting of the law, we made sure that, briefcase companies are not provided for. And by that time, Martin Nsubuga was at the Ministry of Finance. So he also ensured that the appropriate law comes out. In that Ministry of Finance, he stayed there for 15 years. And as I said, he was part of a team that drafted the UBRA Act, and of course the correspondent regulations. I also participated in the beginning, but was only on the Act. When it came to the regulations, I think UBRA was already set up and they did do the regulations in-house. I think without wasting much time, I call upon Mr. Martin Nsubuga, CEO UBRA, to come and invite your chair to welcome the guests. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn, for the detailed introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We gave you some tea when you came. Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's very good. First, apologies for the late start, but nonetheless, I recognize those who are not here in absentia because I know they are coming. That's the Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and Honorable Ministers who are supposed to be in this place. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Augustine Ngafuano, you're most welcome. Our representatives of government ministries, the Chairman UBRA Board of Directors, the Chairman and Executive Members of the Africa Pension Supervisors Association, that's the interim chair, who has handed over to the new chairperson. Chief Executive Officer, FSD Africa, who is represented, CEO Prudential Assurance, CEO of Sanlam, our guests from across Africa and beyond, our stakeholders regulated in this space, and my colleagues at UBRA. My task is very simple. I was given a task to invite the chairman, but before I invite the chairman, I thought I needed to just make short, very, very brief. And it's with great honor that we at Uganda and UBRA in particular, we are privileged to host the 4th Annual Pension Supervisors Association Conference. It's an honor, and we don't take it for granted. And we know that your presence here is a demonstration of our shared commitment to advance the cause of sustainable pension inclusion. The fourth annual pension conference, therefore, is an opportunity for us to generate insights, ideas, and to find solutions to the current pension inclusion challenges in Africa. But in a special way, allow me to welcome my fellow regulators. First, the Time Benefits Authority Kenya. I'll not mention the CEOs, but just the agencies. A representative from the Bank of Tanzania, the National Bank of Rwanda, the National Commission of Social Protection, Burundi, Pension and Insurance Authority of Zambia, Namibia Financial Institutions Supervisory Authority, Financial Sector Conduct Authority of South Africa, Financial Services Commission Mauritius, the Supervisory Authority of Insurance and Social Welfare of Morocco, the National Pension Commission of Nigeria, and the National Social Security Insurance Trust of Sierra Leone. You are most welcome, and thank you for coming and attending this event. Allow me also to appreciate our sponsors. The first one, Government of Uganda, my employer, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, FSD Africa, who have been our main sponsors. Thank you so much. Prudential Assurance Uganda, UK International Development, and Sanlam East Africa. I thought I needed to recognize our sponsors, and thank you so much for supporting us. And of course, in a special way, I want to appreciate Pinbox, another major sponsor, but they have a special role they have played, and they are going to play another role. So Mr. Gotham and Peru, thank you so much. And again, I also want to thank the organizing team. From our side, the OBRA team, under the able leadership of Mr. Benjamin Muchibi, thank you for leading the team. I know there are very many working with you. At some point, we shall introduce them. And from the APSA Secretariat, Dr. Shem. And finally, one person who helped us to coordinate, and I thought I needed to recognize him, is Mr. Leonard Apio. Thank you so much, everyone. I know there will be another opportunity, but this is the first time I'm making this, and I thought I needed to welcome you and to thank you. And in those few remarks, allow me, with my singular honor, to invite the chairman, the OBRA Board of Directors, to officially welcome the guests and each one of you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Martin. Our dear guests have already been introduced to you by our able Master of Ceremonies this evening, this afternoon. And therefore, I am not going to take a lot of time in doing that. But as a host, chairman of the board, I am here to officially welcome you and the Honorable Minister of Finance and Planning, the Honorable Minister of Gender, the Honorable Minister of State in different portfolios which we relate with as an authority, the Honorable Members of Parliament, the Deputy Governor, Bank of Uganda. We have got our key note speakers, the country director, Uganda African Development Bank. We have the representatives of government ministries, departments and agencies, the executive committee of the African Pension Supervisors, our guests from Africa, as have already been mentioned by the CEO, Ugandan stakeholders, sector participants, my colleagues, the board members of Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, management, under the able leadership of our CEO, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to welcome you to this fourth distinguished annual conference of the African Pension Association, abbreviated as APSA. As UBRA, we are privileged to host this gathering of the regulatory authorities and key stakeholders from the public, private, across Africa, but hosted here in Uganda. Thank you for graciously choosing to join us in this conference. You'll note APSA serves as a very important platform that unites pension regulators across Africa and playing a very big role in fostering meaningful discussions and exchange of ideas. Today, as we convene with a very carefully selected theme, sustainable pension inclusion in Africa, we timely address the pertinent challenge facing our continent. In your folders there, there is a write-up on our today's theme, and the statistics have been given very clearly, which is showing the big challenge we face here in Africa, and in particular, as a host country, we are no exception with that challenge. The issue of inclusion is very, very important, and especially the other issue is how sustainable it can be. We are grappling with the big challenge of the informal sector, where a majority of our population, especially the youth, are engaged, and yet there is no coverage in whatever form because of their informality. And according to the UN projections, Africa is projected to have an estimated 226 million elderly individuals by 2050. So emphasizing the urgent need for governments, regulators, and private sector participants in this room gathered to collaboratively devise homegrown solutions to mitigate the looming risks of old age poverty over the next 2 decades. We are looking at the homegrown solutions. Societies are different from each other. We have just been sharing with a colleague, whom I may not mention, and at one time he thought Africa is just like one country. But when you get to realize each country comes up with its own unique issues and challenges. What is here in Uganda may not be in Kenya. What is in Kenya may never be in South Sudan. So when we are talking about homegrown solutions, it is just domestication of the ideas that you pick from here and apply to how they exist. When I was moving around the country with management, popularizing savings for old age, a very young man asked me, "Chairman, you're emphasizing we save for the future. But as we save for the future, we do not have what to eat today. So how can I plan for tomorrow when I'm not sure today. And I looked at him. I asked my CEO, maybe later on you could guide, but I can tell you it was challenging. So what is the ecosystem in your country? How is the economic setup? What is the level of economic development in your area? What are the policies there that guarantees what we are talking about? The inclusivity of all people to be saving and to manage the old age poverty as a matter of urgency. So the idea of devising homegrown solutions to the problems is very, very key. At the end of the day, the consensus that we develop in such conferences help us to come up with solutions that we seemingly can apply back home. So recognizing the interconnectivity between regulators and the private sector entities, dialogue and collaboration assume a paramount role in crafting sustainable solutions for pension in Africa. So as we collaborate, as we dialogue, as we discuss today, we are looking at what are those sustainable solutions for pension inclusion in Africa. I'm optimistic that the discussions over the next 2 days will be a step in the right direction, affording us the opportunity to collectively brainstorm and formulate actionable solutions in ensuring sustainable pensions inclusion across the globe. And so this is a great opportunity really for us to come together, and it is our hope in that direction that we will achieve it. You achieve active engagement and participation in this. These carefully selected sessions are not only encouraged, but they are very crucial, as it is through these efforts that we shape solutions for the greater good of Africa and our citizens. As I conclude, allow me to thank the government of Uganda. We have the stable leadership of Mzee Kaguta Yoweri Museveni, President of Uganda, for his foresightedness to establish the pension regulator in Uganda and ensuring that the supervisory activities are financed. Just like the CEO mentioned earlier, quite appreciating the support started with the government of Uganda. And as the chair of the board, I want to also reiterate the same appreciation to His Excellency, but also to the minister and ministers of state in the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. Allow me also to thank all the partners that have supported APSA to organize this conference. This is just an emphasis. In particular, we want to thank FSD Africa. Where are they? We need to see you have done a very great job. Just stand up and we clap for you. Oh, thank you very much. They have given us resources. The co-sponsors of this conference, Pinbox Solutions. Where is Pinbox Solutions? Please stand up. A very big Prudential Assurance Uganda. Where are they? Oh, these are very great guys. Sanlam East Africa Investments Limited. And all the UBRA staff. Thank you very much. Martin, you can stand up on their behalf. These guys have worked so much. Organizing an international event like this cannot just leave you like normal. You have to sleep. Sometimes you may not even sleep. So guys have done great. And as a board, later on, during our time, we'll have to introduce them to you. We also did our oversight and strategic thinking to allow this happen in this country, positioning ourselves also into this. So I want to thank you, our partners, for that support. And I did it deliberately for you to stand up. For us, I have a political background. If you want to have any challenge with a politician on a function, deny him a microphone. He will hate you forever. And sometimes you have to lobby the MC before, so that he gives you at least a small slot as you are going to another function. So thank you very much for that. I want to finally emphasize at UBRA, we reiterate our commitment to continue developing the retirement benefit sector in Uganda as we contribute to Africa's broad solutions to address old age poverty. I want once again thank you for your attention and welcome to the Pearl of Africa. While you are here, I think later in the program, our staff will take you around and really enjoy what it takes to be in Uganda for God and my country.
Oh, that's not enough. Another round of applause for the UBRA chair. The next speaker is Mary Njuguna, but she's representing the CEO of FSD Africa. Mary holds an MSc in Finance and Financial Law from SOAS, University of London, and a bachelor's degree in law from the University of Manchester, UK. And inevitably, she holds a diploma in legal practice, hence an advocate of the Kenyan High Court. She has an experience of over 17 years in the capital markets development, regulation, and legal practice. And she is passionate about supporting formative capital markets initiatives and promote economic development in Africa. I think I'll keep the introduction short, but what intrigued me most was where she leads Africa's work on gender bonds. Yes, she supports the women. Mary, you're most welcome.
Thank you for that kind introduction. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to stand on existing protocols, and apologies from our CEO who had to be somewhere else this morning. And so it's my humble duty to share some of the remarks that he would have shared here himself. First and foremost, I would like to extend special thanks to UBRA for hosting us in the beautiful Pearl of Africa for the next 2 days. And FSD Africa is delighted to co-sponsor this forum as a friend and supporter of APSA. We have been supporting APSA since 2019 in various ways. But first of all, for those in the room who may not know who FSD Africa is, we are a specialist development agency. We have a mandate to make finance work for Africa's sustainable future. So how do we do that? We seek to understand, first of all, the intractable challenges that make it difficult for finance to flow from those who hold it to where it is needed most. And to do this work, we work closely with stakeholders on the ground, including regulators, like many in the room, as well as private sector players and various others in the ecosystem to unlock some of these blockages. In our capital market development work, we see the pension industry, in our capital market development work, we see the pension industry as a major catalyst for change in the region, and it is undoubtedly an important player in sustainable development in Africa. As we know, a good pension system is good because it serves not just the pensioner, but the wider needs of the economy. And so many times we reflect on what does a good pension system look like? And a good pension system is one that provides income and livelihood in old age. And it also mobilizes pension savings that can be used to finance productive activities, improve living standards, and build economic resilience. And undoubtedly, they also do support capital market development in their pivotal role as institutional investors. So what is promising is that in Africa, the assets under management in the pension industry continue to grow year on year. I think currently in excess of about $1 trillion USD and counting. But the statistics also show that only 1 in 5 people of pensionable age are receiving a pension. We also see that only about 9% of the labor force is covered by pension schemes, and the bulk of pension assets are invested in government securities. I think some of these data points just show us that we have a way to go. And therefore, this presents an opportunity, on the one hand, increasing pension coverage, which we note is a major theme in this conference. And on the other hand, there's an opportunity to enhance investment opportunities for pension funds. And we believe this is, like two sides of the same coin, and that they both need to happen in tandem for holistic, sustainable growth to be realized. So at FSD Africa, we take an ecosystem view to market development. We work with regulators, investors, issuers, and other market enablers to address financial system challenges that need to be addressed or unlocked to enable sustainable finance to grow. So taking an ecosystems approach, we not only work with pension fund regulators, like of course those in the room, but also with fund managers, and have recently supported the establishment of the Pan-Africa Fund Managers Associations, PAFMA, which comprises of about 14 pension fund associations on the continent. And as a collective, PAFMA aims to bring together fund managers across the region to discuss matters of mutual interest to promote solution-based approaches within the continent of Africa's regional operating environment and priorities. In addition, we work with issuers or in providing technical assistance for demonstration transactions and innovative investment fund structures. To date, we have supported the capital raising of about $1 billion USD in thematic bond issuances, gender bonds included, but a lot of that includes work that we've done on green and sustainability bonds. We also work with other partners in supporting risk mitigation tools through the provision of guarantees for debt instruments, and have supported infra-credit in Nigeria. And recently, the latest kid on the block is the Mana Guarantee Company, which will be operating in East Africa, and we'll hear more about this tomorrow. We believe that the deliberations taking place in this conference are very timely because regulators determine the pace and direction of pension market growth. And we are honored to sponsor this event together with others, and look forward to engaging further with you in the course of the next 2 days. And with these few remarks, I thank you for your kind attention. So the MC is asking me, what are green bonds? So in summary, without taking much time for the next speaker, I think green bonds are really bonds that are raised with the sole purpose of channeling funds for climate resilient projects. So that's really what it is, whereas gender bonds are funds raised and earmarked only for gender empowerment initiatives. I hope that answers you, Madam MC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mary. I purposely asked about green bonds because ESG is the way to go. And FSD Africa is already at it. I think APSA should also be at it sooner than later. Is Mr. John Chemongos around. John Chemongos from Bank of Uganda. Okay, he was supposed to represent the governor, but unfortunately, of course, the governor was engaged. We have a central bank. And in the central bank, you're supposed to have a governor and a deputy governor. Currently, we don't have a governor, we have a deputy governor. And trust me, the bank has a system that much as you don't have a governor in place, at least on the outside, things are running the way they are supposed to run. It's a system that runs, a system built with a lot of support that even if you removed one stick, you could still move. Our keynote speaker is Mr. Augustine Pehe Ngafwan. He's the ADB country manager, Uganda. Mr. Ngafwan holds a Master's of Business Administration in Finance and Accounting from the William E. Simon Graduate School of Business University of Worcester, New York, USA, a Bachelor of Business Administration in Accounting and Economics from the University of Liberia, Monrovia. He's a former, he has held very many places, posts, very important posts, but in the interest of time, I will not list all of them. All I can tell you is that he was a former Liberian foreign minister and also a former Minister of Foreign Affairs and Dean of the Liberian Cabinet. The list goes on and on, but in the interest of time, we'll end there. I would want to invite Mr. Ngafwan to come and give the keynote address, please.
Thank you very much. The chairperson of the Africa Pension Supervisors Association, APSA, the chairman of the Board of Directors, Uganda Retirement Benefits Association, members of the Africa Pensions Supervisors Association here present from other countries, members of the government, representatives of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. On behalf of the African Development Bank and on my own behalf, I extend my deep appreciation to the African Pension Supervisors Association and the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority for inviting me to deliver the keynote address at this 4th annual Africa Pension Supervisors Conference that is being co-hosted with FSD Africa, UKA, Pinbox Solutions, Prudential Assurance Uganda Limited, and Salam Investment East Africa. The importance of the 4th annual conference cannot be overemphasized. It brings together top actors and thinkers in the pension sector, including but not limited to regulators, policymakers, pension fund administrators, insurers, development agencies, fintechs, digital financial inclusion, and ecosystem stakeholders, journalists and think tanks, drone both from the African continent and across the world. With such prominent participation, I am convinced that the conference will not only deliberate on new ideas, share experiences aimed at providing sustainable pension inclusion in Africa, but also come up with innovative and transformative recommendations aimed at improving inclusiveness of the pension sector beyond its present coverage. Madam Chairperson, provision for sustainable pensions certainly constitutes an essential part of retirement planning for those who have access to it. After retirement, pensions provide a reliable source of income are either eligible for pension benefits or indeed preparing for an orderly retirement. This is explained by the fact that retirement benefits, including pensions, have been traditionally a prerogative of those who retired from public service and are a small minority of our higher income private sector employees. This situation has left out over 600 million people in the informal sector out of the formal pension arrangements. While more work remains towards improvement of existing pension systems and making them effective, there is a lot that needs to be done for pension inclusiveness. By bringing into the pension system the large number of Africans that still do not have a formal pension to sustain one upon retirement. Advances in improved access in public health, better nutrition, and general better living standards have improved life expectancy on the continent. This has led to an important demographic shift with longer lifespans of at least more than 20 years after formal retirement. Given that 9 out of 10 senior citizens have no access to a pension, the former struggle to support themselves after retirement. This manifests as a challenge that both innovative and the traditional pension systems across the continent must deal with. Of financial well-being in desperate actions in the present to secure their future well-being. Pension systems within the continent must be progressive and resilient to address the mounting pressure to deal with those left out of the public and private pension schemes and improve the pension regime for those already covered by pension. Governments across Africa need to adopt best practices in coming up with policies, legal, regulatory, and institutional arrangements that would encourage inclusivity by bringing into the ambit